Possibility of You was inspired by finding my grandmother's name on the Ellis Island website and the date that she came to America, which was May 1911. And suddenly her life as a young woman in New York came alive to me in a way it never did when she was alive. She was embarrassed to talk about her life as a young nanny working in New York, but at the time she came to New York, she was 23 years old, stranger from a country far away from her family, and my daughter at that time was also 23 and living in France. And so it was easy for me to imagine this grandmother on her own trying to make her way as a young woman, which must have been very difficult at that time. The first section of the book takes place in 1916, which is the year of the first big polio epidemic in New York, and also the year the first birth control clinic opened in New York and was shut down by the police 10 days later. Birth control at that time was illegal. The second section of the book, which is woven in, is in the 1970s in New York, and the characters you meet in 1916, Bridget, the Irish nanny, and Maud, the Ziegfeld Follies girl that she works for, also are in the 1970s old ladies dealing with their young granddaughter. And then there's the third section of the book takes place in present day. A young woman pregnant for the first time realizes that she needs to find her birth mother and find out the circumstances of her adoption in order to resolve her own feelings about being a mother. So that's the book. 3 women, 3 different moments in the past century dealing with unplanned pregnancies and the question of what makes someone a mother.
That sounds very timely.
Much more timely than I even knew when I was writing the book. Who would have imagined that there would be a fight 100 years later about birth control? Right. Abortion, yes. Birth control seems to be an issue that was settled decades ago, and yet here it is, a controversy again that women are dealing with 100 years after Bridget and Maud deal with it in the book.
Where did your grandmother immigrate from?
She came from Ireland, a town called Drumshanbo, which was on the border of the north and the south from a farm. At that time, thousands and thousands of Irish girls came, and they were the only ethnic group where women emigrated alone into the United States, and by and large the only ethnic group where they worked as servants, partly because they were willing to do it, and partly because as English speakers they were also literate because there was education in Ireland, and so they were prized as servants in New York. Irish girls and Jewish girls, Italian girls and Jewish girls who came at the same time usually traveled with their families and did not work in service.
Thank you.